What's up?
Great.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the East Veterans Memorial School Building Committee. Not Memorial, forget.
It's not Memorial.
No, I know, but it's, I know. I'm just reading old stuff here. This meeting is conducted, is recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting law, consistent with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning certain in-person meetings of the building committee if the building committee is not possible. It will be conducted by remote participation. The public will not physically be able to attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. With that said, I'm going to call this meeting to order. And the first order of business is to approve the East Veterans Building Committee minutes of December 8th, 2022. Are there any corrections or omissions?
Jonathan, do we need a roll call vote? Or a
Yeah,
roll call?
we need a roll call for attendance, not a vote, but yeah. Sorry, Yash.
Yeah, no worries. Good evening to one and all. Jonathan Pope,
Here,
thank you. Ben Lemus,
Yes.
thank you. Katie Clancy, not here. Richard Safar.
Here.
Thank you. Matthew Fusco,
Here.
thank you. Amy Pascarello,
Here.
thank you. Grant Harris,
Here.
thank you. John Dunn, not here.
no,
Gary Fish,
Yes.
thank you. Caitlin Nunes,
Yes.
thank you. Tony Gross,
Here.
thank you. Stacy Capone, not here. Thank you.
6, 7, 8, 9.
No.
So we have 9 members in attendance, which is a quorum. And we'll move on to our first order of business, which is the approval of the meeting minutes of December 8th, 2022. Are there any corrections or omissions? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion that we approve of the meeting minutes as presented.
Seconded.
There we go. Yeah, is there any discussion? Yes, can we have a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Pope,
Yes.
thank you. Ben Lemus,
Yes.
thank you. Richard Safar,
Yes.
thank you. Matthew Fusco,
Yes.
thank you. Amy Pascarello,
Yes.
thank you. Grant Harris,
Yes.
thank you. Gary Fish,
Yes.
thank you. Caitlin Nunes,
Yes.
thank you. Tony Gross,
Yes.
thank you. Did anybody else join?
No. Nope, that's it. Oh, Stacy's here.
Hi, sorry.
Hey, Stacy.
We're
Can you hear
voting on the minutes, yes.
Okay.
Have
So,
you,
yes.
yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
okay. All right, that's 10 in favor and nobody opposed. The minutes are accepted as presented. Our next order of business is the invoices. And I will turn this over to Brian.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Okay,
So these are the 5 invoices that we have up for approval this month. So the first invoice for W.T. Rich, requisition number 17, covers all the work completed last month. The amount is $3,997,717. Then we have invoice number 44 for Doran Whittier in the amount of $125,920. And all of these invoices are included in your packet. This invoice included the construction administration work for the month of November. And there was also some billings from playground and some of the work on the lead document. The next invoice for CBRE is our standard monthly invoice for project management services in the amount of $60,000. That's invoice number PJIN 0034138. We have a very small invoice from UTS for the testing that was done, an amount of $250. That's invoice number 103218-1. And the last invoice is for the Green Building Council. This was for the fees that we needed as a part of our lead certification. That invoice is for $4,191.55. Invoice number 91605-373. So those 5 invoices are what we need to pay now. So totaling $3,188,078.55.
Brian, that might be 4188, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, giving us a deal there, Brian. Thanks.
What's really in here or there?
Especially when it's in our favor.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody understands that there's a math error there. And that should be $4,188,078.55. Are there any questions? I do have one. Just we haven't talked about this for a long time, but perhaps in the future we could get some sort of update on where we're standing with the LEED certification.
Yeah, so the work has been, all the paperwork has been prepared by the various consultants as we go through the process. So this is the preliminary fee that needs to be paid for the initial review. And at the end of the project, we'll be able to get our final certification.
Great. Okay.
And again,
Any
it's
other
done in 2
questions?
phases. Yeah, there's a design submission, and which is this submission. And then at the end of the project, there'll be the full construction submission. So it's the typical 2 submission process.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, just a clarification to the team. It's the total is correct. It's for 3,188,078.55. Just the WT Rich company invoice is for 2,997,717.
Okay,
Yeah, the total is correct. I'm sorry.
the total is correct.
Yeah.
The WT Rich input is incorrect.
It should be 2 million and not 3 million. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, on the invoice summary, it's correct. 2,997,717.
right. Okay, just didn't get translated into this. You know, that's what I'm looking at too. That's good. Okay, so I will make a motion that we approve the 5 invoices as presented for a total of $3,188,078.55, and I so move.
Second,
Any discussion? Seeing none, Yash, could we have a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Pope.
Yes.
Thank you. Ben Lemes.
Yes.
Thank you. Katie Clancy.
Yes.
Thank you. Richard Safar.
Yes.
Thank you. Matthew Fusco.
Yes.
Thank you. Amy Pascarello.
Yes.
Thank you. Grant Harris.
Yes.
Thank you. Gary Frisch.
yes.
Thank you. Caitlin Nunes.
Yes.
Thank you. Tony Gross.
Yes.
Thank you. Stacy Capone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to our next order of business, which is our updates. Let's see. What's first?
You see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
All right, great. So thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, work is progressing nicely. I just actually got off the site a few minutes ago, but my way here. And we're really seeing nice progress throughout the building on all floors, building A, building B, and even now with the warmer weather, we've been able to get some additional site work. You can see in this image here in the front, some of the electrical conduit being run for the light poles, and also a lot of the curbing that's in. So we're really hitting on all cylinders with getting this work completed. So if we go into our little summary here. So we continue to track on budget and on time, despite the various delays that we've talked about in some of the past meetings and also some change orders. So we have been able to kind of work through this by managing the cost effectively, doing some resequencing of the work, and making various adjustments to the project as we go along to keep everything moving in the same direction and on time. We've made quite a bit of progress, as you could see on the previous image, on the windows and the curtain wall. And as I mentioned, the interior is really coming along as well. So taking a look at the activities, there's not really much change from last month. We did have 2 holidays, but otherwise the project has been moving forward. We've also been working some Saturdays to make up for the various delays that we've had, and that is helping to keep up with the schedule. In terms of the project funds, we continue to be in line with the budget. So here you can see, this inner green circle continues to work its way up as we get towards the completion. You'll notice maybe here on the designer side that number is quite a bit higher than the rest. That's because a lot of their work happened earlier on during the project, during the initial study phase, and also the design phase. So their level of effort right now is not as high as compared to those earlier phases, what that kind of represents. The owner billing also will jump quite a bit. Here you can see it's about halfway, but as we get going now, these next few months, we're going to start issuing purchase orders for a lot of the furniture, equipment, and the technology. So that'll be increasing at that time. And with the OPM, I mean, that kind of goes more consistently throughout the project. We're usually on board before a lot of the design work is done, and then after the construction is done as well. So kind of gives you a good overall representation of where the project is as a whole in terms of completion. Looking at the contracts, no major changes on the contract. We continue to have a number of purchase orders, change orders, proposed change orders that we deal with every month. Right now, we're hovering just over 30. We got a few more in today, but we have both credit and debit change orders, and we've been able to manage to keep the numbers within our budget items for those particular things. Again, we will be issuing some purchase orders in the next few months, so the contract award number here would go up at that point. And then lastly, with the change orders, we do have a change order number 2 coming our way. But again, here we have both debit and credit. So the net change order is only going to be a few $1,000. So it won't really be much of an impact. Moving along here, the cash flow, we've hit the $40 million mark in total expenses to date. So this will keep marching upward through the end of the summer and then flatten out as the building construction comes to an end. And our projected monthly cash flow, that's also going to take a nosedive as we get to the end of the summer. But for the next few months, we're projecting that is going to remain around the $3 million mark, similar to the W.T. Rich invoice that we approved just a bit ago. So looking at the schedule, we're still showing a 6-day lag here on our schedule. But as I said, with the mitigation efforts that we're doing on these various delays that have been hitting the job, we are still projecting an on-time completion. So the Saturday work helps with that, plus the resequencing. And also now, as we're moving into the finish work, the laborers on site have been able to pick up speed. There's really room to work all throughout the building, all levels of both building A and building B. So that enables the contractors to pick up speed and make up for some of the lost time. So we've also, sorry here, I think this is this is missing a slide here, but yeah, let me see if I had some images here from the teacher tour that that Matt did. I don't know if Matt can speak about that a little bit.
Sure.
Let me see if I can.
So last week we had a tour of the building with some of the staff from both East Gloucester and vets, and wasn't a super large group, but everyone who came through was just really so excited and thrilled. And of course, the whole team, WT Rich's team, is very helpful, and Phil showed us all around, gave us some little insights into the building. It was really, really cool.
Okay.
Phil
And I
was
do
very
I can
popular.
find the images here.
right.
So let me pull that up here. Having a little technical difficulty today.
All right. I wish I had something more to say.
There you go.
All right.
You can see Principal Fusco with a lot of the finishes going in. And the staff here as well.
The middle teacher is just very excited. She's standing in her own office. She's our math coach, Kristen Parsons. She's standing in her office looking out. She's just thrilled. And then the picture to the left, this is the teachers walking from the art room into the media center. Checking that out.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
So on the OPM side, we've been very busy with a lot of the financial and schedule oversight, assisting with furniture, equipment, technology procurement. I've also been assisting the city with the backlog of the MSBA reimbursement. We did submit the first major reimbursement to the MSBA last month, and we have a second major one being prepared for January. Last month included all the contractor invoices to date, and then the one in January is going to target the designer's invoices. We should be able to wrap it up then in February with all the remaining invoices and be kind of caught up on the month-to-month basis come March. We've also been helping the city get the offsite traffic changes going. So the city is handling most of that internally, but a design proposal was received and that should be awarded soon. I don't think John Dunn is on right now to comment on that, but
I did see him there.
oh, he is. Oh,
It's
John,
on now.
okay. Can you provide a little bit of an update?
No. Yeah, it's in progress. It just very, very, very busy. So we'll try and hop on that tomorrow or Tuesday.
Okay, thanks, John. So with the community, there haven't really been any major issues, though we did get some complaints recently about some of the noise with some of the Saturday work. And we have worked to address that. We talked with WT Rich's team, trying to make some adjustments to some of the time. And there really isn't a lot of activity going on. But with the remaining windows that need to be installed, they have to get up on a lift, and those lifts have little beepers. So when they're moving, people are safe around them. So that is a little bit of a disruption, but that should be wrapped up very quickly. We do continue to send out emails and notices for any changes to what's happening on the site that might impact the neighboring community. We will have 2 large deliveries coming up in the next few weeks, and then a couple more towards the end of the month for some of the casework and millwork that's going to be installed. So there will be some of that, but we've had similar size trucks in the past, and they've been able to move to the site quite easily without any problems. So I don't expect that to be an issue. Moving on to the designer update. The design team continues to be busy overseeing the conformance with the design documents in terms of what's being built, keeping up with the level of RFIs and submittals that are coming from the CM. And they've also been working on wrapping up the furniture package, and we'll be moving into getting the equipment selections done with the administration in the next month or 2. They've also been working on finalizing some of the signage, and Michelle can talk us through a few of these items. First one here is for the plaque that we have on the interior. So this was also in your package. So hopefully you've had a chance to look it over, and I guess I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Great, thank you. So the plaque is 18 by 24. This plaque, it says East Veterans School, but I think we're going to have to change that to East Veterans Elementary School, but you can see how crowded the plaque is. One of our suggestions might be to go to a 24 by 24, which is larger than what we have spec'd right now. If you want to continue to have all of the names of both the current and former members of each of the boards that were part of this project. So that's one option, is to go to the bigger plaque, and the second option would be to reduce the size of the lettering. Right now, the lettering is a little bit smaller than what you have over at West Parish. So I would suggest that maybe somebody take a look at what we did over at West Parish and let me know if you think that lettering needs to get any smaller. And then the second task I'd like to have the group look at is each of the names. Make sure that we want all of these names on the plaque, and then of course that they're all spelled correctly.
There's at least one former member that's not on there. If
Okay,
you're doing former members.
great. If you want to add that, or just send me a text message, an email message that adds that name.
Yeah, and I think you mean school building committee instead of city council on the top right.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, I do, actually, yes.
yeah. But
Thank
Aria McElhenney was huge in getting this off the ground. If we're doing
You're-
former, she needs to be on there.
You're absolutely right. Thank you.
And wait,
And I'm not the chair.
yeah, Kathy's not the chair of the
Oh.
of the city council or the building committee. And then Barry
I
Pett.
think it's listed as chair.
I think so, Scott. Yeah, I think it looks like city council is just supposed to be the school building.
It is, yeah. That was a copy, but Kathy, I think you are listed as the chair for the school building committee.
She's listed as the chair for the school committee. Jonathan is the co-chair, and Ben used to be Rich.
Barry Pett is a former member of the city council.
Okay.
And then was Joseph Orlando a member of the city council during this time? I just wasn't.
Mm.
I don't think so.
So I just went back to some of the early meeting minutes and tried to gather former names that were on the list. There is no place for me to actually find those former names. So if if somebody could take on the task of reviewing this and marking it up and sending it back to me, that would be great.
I'll have Stephanie do that.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think what you need to do is set a date, because there was a point when we voted to proceed with the building. There was a vote when we actually started building it. I mean, there are a number of, we gotta determine which date we're gonna go to. I think it's important that we include all of the previous members. That didn't happen at West Parish. And
Right.
it was one of my regrets in life. But that being said, I think we need to decide when it was that we started this project officially. Was it when it was approved, when the funding was approved in 2020, or is it?
Or the date you submitted the SOI. I mean, you could
Yeah.
keep going back
Yeah,
and
that's-
back and back. So
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
absolutely right. Yep.
John, how about the date that the building committee was established?
Yes.
Well, that goes way back. It's going to add a lot of names.
All right.
I'm
Forget
just
that then.
saying, I mean, it does, because that was the first thing that we did. I mean, basically, after we submitted the statement of interest and it was accepted, that was almost the next thing that happened, was a building committee was established.
Right. So you're going back about 5 years. Or
Yeah, we're going
maybe a little
back.
bit more.
More than that.
And-
Pre-COVID, we're going back to Jason Rogers and a whole lot of other people that have come and gone.
So what I'm hearing is the sign needs to get bigger.
Yeah. I would,
Okay.
sign needs to get bigger,
So we do need to get bigger. And
and we
uh,
should establish a time.
Yep.
I mean, it was a viable project when it got voted by the public. I mean, that's one thing, but there were a lot of people who did a lot of work to make it a viable
Get it.
product, to get it
Right.
there. So,
you mean the first vote to go into feasibility study?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or the vote by the public for the override for the funding. I mean, that's when it really became a viable project. But up until then, but there were a lot of people who did a lot of work
Mhm.
before that to get it there. So I would say
So,
that,
yeah, so we mentioned, when the school building committee was formed, and you said that would add quite a few names. If we go with a larger plaque, I mean, will there be room for that many more names? How many names would you anticipate that would need to be added, roughly? A dozen?
yeah, I think so. But if we go with a larger plaque, which I mean, I'd like to include everybody. I'd like to include everybody that had anything to do with it, because, that's
I also-
important.
I also don't like the lopsidedness of the columns. We have some room for former members in that bottom right-hand corner. Balance it out.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. There's room on there, so. if there are
Visually, we
forums-
can fit a few more former members there. And it is important. I mean, this was a long road and I remember public hearings that people sat through and their names aren't on here that were not so amicable. I think they need to have their name on it's important.
Well, if we're gonna add
Get double
people, how
billing.
about if we add some lawyers?
That's funny.
So
Um,
bigger plaque and going from the formation of the building committee.
Yeah, so I
Yes.
know we're trying to wrap up some of the signage, but I think we still have time, to make the necessary adjustments. Alex, do you have a date that we need to have this wrapped up? I guess what I'm asking is, can we come back next month with the final iteration? Will that still give us enough time, or do we need to handle that before then?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
We got a little time, so next month's perfect.
All right, so I will ask Stephanie to begin from the formation of the building committee. Does anybody have that date, or Brian, can you text me that?
I can
date?
get it. Yeah, I can go back.
And
Okay.
Brian, that would be the invitation from MSBA into the eligibility period. That
Right.
date is a known date. It was at a specific MSBA board meeting.
At the mark, that's when they approved the statement of interest.
Yeah, that was when you were accepted into the program initially. There was actually two invitations. The first one, invitation into eligibility, which is when you established the building committee, you appropriated the money, you did your maintenance submissions and all of that. And then once you completed the eligibility requirements, there was another MSBA board vote to invite you to feasibility study, which is when you hired your OPM.
Yep. So yeah, that's no problem. I can provide that date.
That second date may be a better target.
Which one, Tony?
The second date of MSBA when we're allowed into, into eligibility or not eligible.
Eligibility is the first one.
Right. The next one, the feasibility.
Study. That's after you set the building committee, you appropriated the money, you got approval for MSBA participation in the first part, and you moved forward to form your consultant team.
Oh, so the city council had to be involved to approve the appropriation, so.
That's correct.
Yeah, so
That
that's,
would have been done during the eligibility period, the appropriation.
yeah, so then, back to the first date.
I agree.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing here so Michelle can share her screen and show us.
Actually, if you want to just show your next slide there with the numbers on it,
Okay.
your next hidden
So
slide
yeah.
there.
So we'll skip ahead to take a look at this. So what are we looking at? I guess we see some numbers on,
So-
Windows.
Numbers
So
on the
we-
windows, yeah.
Yep, so we've been asked to look at adding numbers to the windows, and this is what Brian is showing is just one example of how the numbers could be added to each of the windows. You would put the room number on the windows, and you would use the like between the 165 and the 165 is the entire classroom, and then you can see that it goes on to room 164. So you have numbers in some windows on the left upper panes and other windows on the right upper panes. I have put together, if I can share now, share.
This is just, the introduction should be that this is a safety fish.
Yeah, I wanted to maybe ask Ben to say a few words. This is something I guess that started on the O'Malley project as they're looking at some of the window replacement. It's not something that we've seen on a lot of schools around here, but just recently when I was traveling in a different part of the country, I did notice a lot of the schools out there had this type of numbering on their windows. So it seems to be maybe something newer that schools are doing. But
Yeah, so-
Ben can share a little more about that.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. So, as folks may not know, is that on school buildings, including ours, we have all the exits numbered, the door is numbered. That helps with emergency response. If first responders need to, go and we enter a specific door to be closest to whatever they're responding to. We are currently in the process of a project to replace all the original windows and exterior doors at O'Malley. And the part during the design process on that, the project team raised a question of, do we, want these on our windows? And I reached out to our Lieutenant Michael Gossam at our police department, also Fire Chief Eric Smith, and they both chimed in that it would be a great help and beneficial to have it. Our designers, particularly with with O'Malley's design, but that's not, but it'd be helpful to them. And they also suggested having this approach where, the first window, say farthest left, window and the farthest right window of a building, of a room, classroom have it. And so that tells them the extent of that classroom. So, so it's something we're going to go ahead to do with O'Malley. And then the question was raised, actually they raised the question, should we also do it on the new building? So I discussed it with our working, our project team, and then we wanted to bring it to the building committee to decide on it. It obviously has a it makes reporting a number of things easier. Everything from open windows or broken windows or graffiti, but also during emergency response as well. There is a aesthetics impact, which I think Michelle's going to show us something that might help us understand that better. The example Brian was showing, isn't quite aligned with what isn't quite the same. It's a little bit different in terms of dimensions, I think. But anyway, so that's the basic concept, supported by our folks, our main contacts at the fire and police department here in Gloucester. And Michelle, if you want us to show something, it'd be great.
Yes, I think, Maria, I think you have to, oh, there we go. Thank you. Share. Okay, so you can see my screen now. So, oops. So what happens is we begin to number the windows, and you can see here that the windows get numbered. This would be room 000 and 002. And as we move into the classroom wings, you begin to see the different classrooms and how the windows stack up. Some of the questions we have are, do areas like the round windows, do we add numbers to those? And what about areas where the windows are too high? This would be, this is the art room storage area, and this is the beginning of the art room. Do we number those windows there? They are out of reach for students, so it's not like you would be helping a student escape from a window of that sort, or even probably entering the window, because this is all part of that classroom. So some of these windows we want to talk about independently. We also want to know, windows that are super high, like within the stairwell. Here's the stairwells are numbered, but does the top window get numbered as well? And I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about that at the moment, but we can talk about that. And then in the extended learning area, you would have each of those areas numbered within those larger panes of glass.
Okay, any comments, any ideas?
Well, I don't think that it's necessary to number those big round windows, because we know that's the gymnasium. I think everyone would sort of know that, but just my.
We also have them here in the cafeteria.
Oh, in the
too.
caf, yep.
Here the door will be
on that door there.
Right, the door will be numbered, and you'll be able to see that this is part of that same vestibule. And when we turn the corner, the large area of the glass in the cafeteria has a number on it.
I don't like numbering the round ones.
No,
Thank you. I
Aesthetically,
agree.
it doesn't look good.
they're decorative,
Yeah,
And I also don't think it makes any sense to put numbers on the windows that are the clear stories that are up high, that just not.
The art room, I agree with that.
Yeah.
art room and the art storage is not necessary.
and the top of the
Michelle.
stairwell.
Michelle, can you go to the art room?
So this is the art storage room, and then the art room starts here and goes all the way to the end.
This is the back of the building,
This is the front.
front, okay.
Tony, you're on mute.
We wouldn't have an identifier where that room ends if we didn't have that second one. It's in the third pane from the right.
Well, this particular room.
Not that
actually
one.
turns- Right, you
Not
wouldn't know that it ends there, but you also, these
You'd know
windows
that
are
it
quite,
had-
these
it's the
windows are
third-
quite high.
I know, but you're talking about identification from the exterior. So if you don't have anything on the term, where the room terminates, I don't know, if there's something going on in that space, how are they gonna know where the room terminates? You understand what I'm trying to say?
What's happened on other schools is that they would number the first window in the room and the last window in the room, so that you could kind of figure out where the space begins and where it ends.
That's what this is, the first and the last.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are we talking about not having that last one on that high window?
We'd actually also have a number in this window here, which is the storeroom number. And if we think about these, it actually spans the entire length of that art room.
I would think it would just be like for all of the academic spaces, primarily maybe the stairs, and then maybe we could get some guidance from public safety in terms of, do they need a start and stop, or they just need one per room? You know what I mean?
I mean, what is the signaling, what is the message that goes to public safety from whatever's happening in the school? Is it, my theory is we're in the art room. We need, it's on fire, they're gonna know where the art room is. It makes it important, the other rooms, the non-recognizable rooms, but the gym and the art room and the cafeteria are, that's what people are going to say. They're not going to say I'm in room 107 and have it be the art room, I don't know.
I think that's right. And they'll also have the evac plan.
Yeah.
So, right, the evac plan will correlate to like the room numbers. And so I would think, but again, maybe we can get some confirmation from them that so long as we have, a number on a window in the room, I would think that would be what they would be looking for. Because they'll also have, again, they typically would have the evac plan, so they'll be able to know, where that window is in relation to all of the rooms and the building.
Ben, did I hear you correctly when you talked to the chief of police and chief of fire that they did ask for it to be on both ends of the room?
I'm just checking now.
I thought that's where that idea came from.
Yeah, no, I can't remember if it was from them or if it was from our designers.
Okay.
I'm just trying to track this down right now. Yep. Hold on a second here. If folks keep on going, I'll see if I can get the answer for you.
Yeah, so I think what we want to do is, see if there's agreement to move forward with this. Sounds like, people understand the additional layer of safety that can be provided by putting the numbers on the building. And then, also understand that this would be an additional project cost. We don't have an exact price at this point until we can get a number of the details figured out, but we're probably somewhere in the round, maybe $8,000 or so, plus or minus, for this type of labeling.
So what would they be? Would they be like vinyl stick-on numbers, or would they be painted on, or would they be?
Yeah, I think the police or fire, I forgot who that came from, Ben. They provided an example of what the numbers would look like, and they were, I believe, reflective numbers that were stuck to the windows.
Yeah, they're reflective, film.
Yeah.
Film, adhesive, adhesive, film numbers. And then also, just to respond to Tony's question, no, that suggestion about the first and last window came from our designers on the mailing project.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just think on the major rooms, where where that is an issue, like the cafeteria and the art room, I think that that should be recognized, that, you know, you say, we got a fire in the art room.
And because
gonna-
they have the evac plan, as Brad said, they have, they have the floor plans, that this is sort of, an addition. It makes it a little more simpler as well, especially being on site there. But I think it's, Brian, would it be okay for us to put forward a motion and like leave some of the detailed blocking and tackling to the, to the project team?
Yeah, I suggest we have a motion to move forward with this, with the understanding of generally what it would look like and what the costs are associated with the project. And then Doran Whittier can provide, the information that we currently have to public safety to get some final comments on whether we need, an additional number in this place or that place.
Okay,
Just one more question. Do we want to label it with the room number for the art room, the cafeteria and the gym, or with art, gym and caf?
I think those are details that we can work out with public safety. I mean, that's really who this
Okay,
is
yeah.
for.
Just
So
wanted to
they
ask the
can-
question.
okay,
That's a good question.
go ahead.
So I just said it's a good question, Nick, because it does make it a little easier, I think,
So
to recognize.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we authorize the designer and project manager to consult with the public safety about how they would like to have rooms numbered, but to proceed with a plan and proceeding to number the rooms on the windows.
Second,
That's kind of vague, but it's the best I could do.
Good effort.
Okay. Any,
I seconded it.
we got a second. So is there any discussion? Okay. Yash, can we have a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Pope,
Yes.
thank you. Ben Lemus,
Yes.
thank you. Katie Clancy,
Yes,
thank you. Richard Safar,
Yes.
thank you. Matthew Fusco,
Yes.
thank you. Amy Pescarello,
Yes.
thank you. Grant Harris,
Yes.
thank you. John Dunn,
Yes.
thank you. Gary Fish,
Yes.
thank you. Caitlin Nunes,
Yes.
thank you. Tony Gross,
Yes.
thank you. Stacy Cabon,
Yes.
thank you.
It passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So if we can switch back to Michelle on the exterior. Oh, there we go. Exterior sign. So this is also something that we've been reworking to get it just right. So this is the final iteration that we have. And maybe Michelle, you can talk us through some of the changes that were made and why this is what we have here today.
So we had presented the working group with a couple of different signs and a couple of different options for materials and dimensions of the sign. And what we wound up with was going a little bit shorter in size and longer in dimension. And this helped one with the name to spread out the lettering on the name, as well as to shorten the overall height. So the sign itself is more rectangular than square. So what you end up with is a sign that's just under 5 feet tall. The top of it is capped stone, and the base, the veneer stone, match the stone that's on the building, and the brick veneer matches the brick that's on the building. The address of the sign will be 5-inch letters, and then the name of the school will be 7-inch letters. So these letters are let's see, I want to, if you look again, using West Parish as an example, the 7-inch letters are what we have over at West Parish. The address was only 4 inches over at West Parish, but it's slightly larger here. And then let's moving to show you how that's going to look with the building. You can see it here. It sits out front between the two entrances, between the main entrance into the school and the bus entrance. As we move around, you can see it from the other side. So it's double-sided, so you'll see it both going up and down Webster Street. And also I did add a few of the numbers in back there, so you can see what that looks like too. So this is where we landed for the sign. I don't know if anybody has any comments about it.
I like it.
I love it.
There we go. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead.
2 votes for the
I think it looks great. Really nice.
I think Matt's upset there's no statue of him up front.
That's coming. That'll
Well,
happen.
that's what the art garden is for.
That's, yes.
It'll be a cardboard cutout. We'll take it out at the holidays.
There's a spot. There's a spot.
No, it looks good. You're not gonna plant a whole bunch of shrubberies in front of it, right?
A couple
You know,
things.
that's- I'm glad you said that, because that's something we need to make sure we don't block cameras. Don't let the trees grow up if we're covering my cameras.
First of all, can we get those 2 photos sent to me and Kathy Clancy and Amy and Matt? They're good
Absolutely.
They're renderings, I guess, not photos. They're great renderings, and that's why I want to have them. So also, just going back to the plaque for a second, Matt, was there any questions you had about the plaque you wanted to raise, or?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I wanted,
You sure?
All
yeah,
right.
I wanted my name larger.
Wanted some modification to his name, but,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. I think that signage looks great.
Great.
Yeah, it looks nice. So, so do we need to vote on that? To go ahead and finalize this sign for the building?
No problem to do that. I'll make a motion that we approve the signage in front of the East Veterans Elementary School as presented by Doran Whittier, and I so move.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, Yash, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Pope,
Yes.
thank you. Ben Lemus,
Yes.
thank you. Katie Clancy,
Yes, yes.
thank you. Richard Sapphire,
Yes.
thank you. Matthew Fusco,
Yes,
thank you. Amy Pascarello,
Yes.
thank you. Grant Harris,
Yes.
thank you. John Dunn,
Yes.
thank you. Gary Frisch,
Yes.
thank you. Caitlin Nunes,
Yes.
thank you. Tony Gross,
yes.
thank you. Stacy Capone,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, it passes unanimously. So move forward.
All right,
Um,
thank you, Yash. Yes, we want to pick up here with our updates on the construction side. Talked a little about that, and then we can look forward to our through here with Alex in a few minutes. But on the construction end, CM continues to be very busy, managing the large amount of work that's happening on the site. Every day there are new items that come up that need to be addressed. As I mentioned earlier today, we have begun installing a lot of interior finishes. So that's really been great. The drywall, the paint, there's also casework that's going in, and tile. So there's been a lot of activity over the last month, even throughout the holidays. So no new updates on the milestones. I think we've talked about this before. These are milestones that were created at the beginning of the project. The actual completion on some of them is earlier and some of them is later. but that's because of a lot of the changes that had to be made in the sequencing of the work due to various delays. But we're still overall tracking ahead on time. We've also had some weather delays, not a whole lot. We've actually been very fortunate in general with our weather this year. It's allowed us to do a lot more work on the exterior than we would have otherwise. Even today, we had site workers doing some excavation and backfilling. So that's really been very helpful. So I can turn this over to Alex to do the open space walkthrough.
Thanks, Brian. Can you guys see my screen?
No, yeah, yes, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to bring you through the third floor. Matt and others may have seen this already, but I think, good visually to kind of refresh a lot of the people that didn't get a chance to walk the other day. So, as Brian mentioned.
Alex, that's title. That's Tyler, right?
Correct. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got drywall accent paint colors starting to go up. Actually, all the walls in the corridor are actually painted. We've got a good push on our ceramic tile. As you can see, I won't try to describe what it is, Michelle, but I believe it's something to do with water and waves.
The wave.
Yes, it is. Yes,
There
it
you go.
is. Yes, yes.
Nice. So I'll take you into one of the classrooms that's actually got millwork starting to go in. So obviously we don't have the permanent lights in yet, but you can start to see how some of these rooms are fitted out with the casework that's coming in. One of the challenges we face is obviously, as some of you may know, casework, wood in general is tough these days, especially coming from Canada. So these showed up a few weeks later than we really wanted them to, but the guys are doing a pretty good job of getting them installed quickly. So you can see those cubbies, large tall cabinets. You've got 2 sinks on this wall as well. You can start to see the pendant light fixtures being installed here. And then the window wall, you can really start to see how that's coming along with the accent and the built-in cabinets and the window bench that we were able to get back into the project, which is a nice feature into these classrooms.
Awesome.
You can also see the track for the folding panel partition. So that's kind of the divider wall between the 2 classrooms, as you guys be aware of. We're expecting flooring to start going down the next couple weeks. That's that marmoleum vinyl tile that a lot of schools are starting to use now. So the next couple weeks, these rooms are going to get pretty, in good shape to finish off. I'll bring you down. Let's see if I can get more of the corridor here. We're working our way, I guess, west to east in terms of that wall tile that you saw in the previous photos. Let's see the paint colors as they change from corridor, corridor, portal, if you want to call them. The cluster of 4 classrooms, I believe the color changes there. Michelle, again, feel free. I'm probably, but
No, you're doing a good job.
nice. All right.
It changes per grade level. So
Gotcha.
if you have 2 grade levels on the same floor, the color changes.
Yep. I'll just bring you down towards the end of this corridor. This is one of the first, multi-student or multi-user student toilet rooms. You can kind of see here, we have that epoxy floor that was just installed. It's like something that you see in the garage, obviously much nicer for the school, but it's got that flaky resinous material. You can see the wall tiles complete in this bathroom. So we're working our way out of those bathrooms and wrapping it into the corridor. I wish the photo was a little bit better, but trust me, it looks pretty awesome. I'll bring you down to the 2nd floor, some of the larger spaces, like the gymnasium here. We can get in there. Starting to board the gymnasium, insulate and board. Looking at the stage and the proscenium that'll ultimately get boarded and finished off with millwork surrounds. But you can start to see just, when you're in the space, it felt big, and now, being finished, it really kind of starts to feel like a gym. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to paint out the ceiling, paint the walls, and then get the gym equipment starting in there. So this space is going to come along pretty quickly as well. You can see those large round windows that you probably saw from the exterior. Some of those spaces. We're actually standing on the stage right now. Take you to the art room. So workshop area with the kiln here, still needing to be framed, but again, for the most part, the art room has taken its full shape. This is the overhead door. It's sort of a decorative glass garage door, for lack of a better term, but it's going to be pretty sharp opening between the art room and the media center. Let's see if I can get you in the media center too here.
And look at those beautiful wood beams.
Yes. Yep, so you can see the glue lamb. This space is starting to take shape now that we've got these kind of ancillary office, admin spaces framed out. I can see if I can pull back a little bit here. Got some more of those porthole windows as well. Yeah, so that's the media center. You can see if I can bring you down to first floor kitchen admin too. Admin's taking shape really nicely. The lighting's obviously not great here, but we're essentially all boarded out in this admin suite, all offices, nurses suite, principals' offices as well. All boarded out. It doesn't really do it justice through this walk, but you can really start to see the size and the makeup of those rooms. Probably finish off here with the cafeteria kitchen area. So we have these two quiet, I think they're called quiet rooms, Michelle, right? On either side of the cafeteria. This large curtain wall 17, which we're in progress of installing right now. The cafeteria, you got another roll-up door here. It's a roll-up grill, actually. And then you get into the kitchen space. Actually, this is the custodial. See if I can get you in the kitchen here. Yep, here we go. So this is all going to be trimmed out with stainless steel, food service equipment. There's a wall right here with additional food service equipment on that side. This is actually the cooler freezer void. So we're going to start getting the cooler freezer in. The hood, for the grilling apparatuses will go in as well. And then we've got a single user toilet room in the kitchen staff office space back here. So hopefully the third floor A building, the classroom wing, gives you sort of a good insight into how we're, progressing on second and first floor. And then obviously you kind of got some atypical spaces in B building with the gym, the art room, the media center, and the cafeteria. Does anyone have any questions?
Tony?
Yes, Alex, I got a couple.
Yep.
On the schedule milestones, it has building B roofing's not complete. What's left up there? Or is that just, there isn't a date on the completion, on actual completion, so.
The
is that-
roof's complete. It may be some accessory things, but we're completely weather tight in B building. So
Okay, well, I
it may be
figured-
some, roof edge or something, Tony, but it's
Okay,
it's pretty much all. What we consider roofing complete is basically weather tight, able to do stuff below it. So
all right. Maybe throw a date in on that then.
yep.
Yeah, and the latest update, I saw that too.
Yeah,
But I was on the roof today and, everything was tight, so.
yeah, well, I would hope. since-
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, now, Alex, you mentioned that the tile was complete. Is that stair step type image? Is that how it's going to be? Or is it going up the wall halfway as far as the Durock?
It's just a wainscoting. It's just, I think it's 3.5 feet high.
It does go up halfway.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay, so
white
it does,
tile,
it
so it's
goes,
hard-
yeah,
it's
so it's,
white tile, so it's hard to see in that
Yeah.
photograph.
oh, I see it now. I
You see,
got it.
this is
Yep.
the top of the wall.
Yep, I see the white tile now, yeah,
Yep.
okay, yep, great. And in the gym, is there gonna be any kind of protection on the walls going up, 8 feet or anything?
So we have
There's
wall
gym
pads
pads.
surrounding, right?
Okay,
And I
Great.
believe those are 6 feet high.
great.
Yes.
And,
So yeah, you should be pretty well protected in there.
and this is just kind of a, just a quick, is there a dishwasher going in this building or
Yes.
no? Yes,
That's weird you asked that because we were just talking about that today. So
because I know we
Yep.
didn't put it in West Parish, right?
yeah, you've got a pretty robust dishwashing system here. I'd be surprised you didn't have one in West Parish, but
Yeah,
We had it and took it out.
Yeah.
okay.
It's a long story.
Oh, you guys are doing paper over there, right? All paper or something.
Yes.
yeah, we had to go to compostables, not combustible,
Yes.
compostable.
Combustible.
Yeah.
Hopefully not
Well,
combustible.
Probably, yeah.
Not combustible, please.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks great. It's amazing to see the tile and the colors on the wall, the accent colors up there. I mean, that's real surprising to me, and it looks great.
Yeah, I can't tell you how relieved I was to start seeing that casework and millwork stuff show up because, as I mentioned, it's industry wide. That is just a nightmare right now. So I could sleep easier knowing that some of it's on site at least.
No, and also right with millwork going in and the casework going in, they start to look like classrooms. They really do.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, almost all the finishes are in there, at least in part, right? We have the wallboard, the tile, we have some flooring in there, we have some ceilings, we have lighting, we have casework. So it's just about all, obviously not in the whole building, but little pieces of it are all starting to trickle in.
Wow.
And I just want to add, you couldn't see it, but the classroom light fixtures are really sleek and cool looking. I thought that was a highlight of the walkthrough.
You're not gonna miss the fluorescent
No,
beams coming out of the ceilings at your old school.
not at all.
I like the detail on the cubbies with the little circles for opening the doors. I think
Mhm.
that's very cute.
Yeah, and Matt, thank you for getting us an answer on those locks.
Yeah,
That was a big help for us today.
great.
Just continuing that little circle theme there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, cool.
Great.
Okay,
All right.
thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you.
That pretty much wraps up our update and all the items on the agenda. So we had a few technical difficulties, but we managed to get through it okay.
Anything else to be brought up before we adjourn?
Just
Ben?
thank you, Jonathan. Just at our next building committee meeting, Brian, could you guys introduce us? I don't think you've done this yet. Just help the committee understand about the commissioning and the commissioning's role in the process. Or we didn't do that in December, did we?
I know we didn't do a big presentation about it. We may have mentioned a little bit, but we do have a commissioning agent that has been active already for some time on the project. Initially, they were reviewing the submittals as they came in. We had someone out, I think, yesterday to do some initial inspections. So NV5 is our commissioning agent. Mike Papagani is the person who's kind of heading that up. So, and they're going to get more and more involved as we go forward. So yeah, we could do that. I can maybe even see if he can join us for a meeting.
Yeah, and just really, I'm not sure how much more, but just like so folks understand what they do, what their role is, and their sort of important role in just the quality and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the commissioning agent is basically there to make sure that things are functioning the way we want them to function. So, we're building everything per the document, getting all the materials and equipment in place. but the commissioning is kind of that transition phase where everything gets started up and we get it running, and we make sure that it's operating the way we want it to, but then also moving that into the owner's hands so that the owner fully understands how all the equipment needs to operate. There's training associated with that for staff, and that helps to ensure the whole building operation is smooth from day one.
Great, thank you. That's helpful.
Anything else? Seeing none, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second,
There we go. Okay. Yash, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Pope,
Yes.
thank you. Ben Lemus,
Yes.
thank you. Katie Clancy,
Yes.
thank you. Richard Safar,
Yes.
thank you. Matthew Fusco,
Yes.
thank you. Amy Pescarello,
Yes.
thank you. Grant Harris,
Yes.
thank you. John Dunn,
Yes.
thank you. Gary Frisch,
Yes.
thank you. Caitlin Unis,
Yes.
thank you. Tony Gross,
yes.
thank you. Stacy Capone,
Yes.
thank you all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much. This,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
the
Bye-bye.
meeting is adjourned, and thank you all very much, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks,
Thank-
Jonathan.
Bye-bye.